What's up, beautiful and amazing souls? My good people, in today's video, we're going to talk about Samia Suluhu Hassan, the current president of Tanzania. I want us to talk about how she found herself in power or in the highest office in Tanzania, what has transpired since she got in, and where things stand today. So I'll walk you through three segments, which is her rise in power, what happened after she assumed office, and what's happening right now as we speak, current news loading. But before that, can we kindly watch these videos, and then after that I'll come back and do like more analysis about Samia Hassan Suluhu and Tanzania.
A country like Tanzania, a totally autocratic nation under a dictator who wants to pass for the mother of the nation, but who lacks the milk of motherhood in her anatomy, who will abduct young people and cause them to disappear from the surface of the earth permanently, who brooks no dissent, no opposition, who does not even allow the leader of the official opposition to run against her in elections. Meanwhile, there's some false calm, and you think all is well. You've bottled it up under a lot of pressure. It's going to explode someday.
You think Tanzania is going to explode at
some point? It will. It will.
Can you believe it? Now, the youths of Tunduma is a town between Zambia and Tanzania. Now, the youths of Zambia are now joining in the protest at the border of Zambia and Tanzania. Can you believe it? Kenyans, are you thinking what I am thinking? Ni venye tuko busy, sisi wata tumewachia protest yao. Samia Suluhu, if Kenyans enter this protest, it is over. It is over. Lakini tuko busy. Kwa sahi, tuko na issues zetu huku, deal na ma-issues zenyu.
We need to comment on this particular video because they might end up lost. Gen Z of Tanzania, go out there and make us proud. Yes, Yendo Suluhu.
Heavy protest and revolution is about to start in Tanzania, here in Africa. Also, like it is currently happening in Cameroon and in Africa Coast right away. Guys, let me tell you what is happening in Africa right now. Do you know there is nothing like democracy in Africa? You see what is happening in Cameroon, also in Africa Coast right now, today being 29th of October 2025. Tanzania is currently on fire. They are holding the presidential election right now as we are speaking. Protest, heavy war started yesterday because this lady, the current president of Tanzania, blocked all her challengers, all the opposition leaders that could challenge her in this presidential election. She blocked almost all of them, even arrested some. What is happening in Tanzania right now? And today we are hearing that internet has been shut down in Tanzania as they are holding their presidential election today. You saw what happened in Cameroon. Paul Biya, the 92 years old man that have already ruled for 43 years straight, won the election. Even in Ivory Coast, Alassane Ouattara that started ruling Ivory Coast 2010, won the election again. He stopped all the opposition leaders, the challengers. He blocked all of them, arrested many of them. Now, the youths, the citizens had no other option than to vote for him. The same thing, the same game they are playing in Tanzania right now. The same thing also happened in Uganda. Museveni, that have ruled for 30-something years, he wants to rule again. He wants to contest for another presidential election in Uganda. And this kind of game they are playing all over Africa. Now, have you ever heard or seen Western leaders, this Western organization, condemning all these kind of leaders here in Africa? Now compare this so-called democracy here in Africa to this military regime, Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger. Compare them. Which one do you choose? Now, many of us here in Africa are still deceiving ourselves that we are practicing democracy. Now, tell me, is this democracy? Let's tell ourselves the truth. This is literally military regime. Even Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, way better than this so-called democracy here in Africa. What is happening in Tanzania right now as we are speaking? Internet shut down. Cameroon revolution is still happening in Cameroon right now. I even heard that some youth had already carried gun. They are shooting in Cameroon right now against the police because military, they are indirectly supporting the youth right now because they refuse to shoot at the protestants. But the police against the protests right now in Cameroon, which some youths have already carried gun. They are fighting against the police. Dictators all over Africa, Western leaders are not saying anything. Western organizations are not saying anything. But you can hear them talk against Ibrahim Traoré, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. Because these people, they are doing something to better the lives of their citizens. Western leaders, they don't like leaders here in Africa that will do everything possible to better the lives of their citizens. But you see all these dictators that are supporting them to suffer the citizens more.
All right, breaking news. Serious protest is happening right now as we speak in Tanzania. Another protest happening in Tanzania. This thing called democracy is not working in Africa. It is not working in Africa at all. You can see that a military regime is better than democracy. Yesterday, it was Cameroon citizens protesting for the change of their democracy president named Paul Biya, who have ruled them for 43 years and still want to continue as the president of Cameroon. Also, serious protest is going on in Ivory Coast. The president of Ivory Coast have ruled Ivory Coast for 15 years now. He still wants to go for the fourth tenure. Since 2010, he became the president of Ivory Coast. He still wants to continue, and the citizens are not benefiting anything from him. So right now, there is serious protest going on in Ivory Coast. The same thing now is happening in Tanzania. Today, 29 October 2025, Tanzania is holding their election. Now, as we speak now, the opposition party, the people that are supposed to challenge the president of Tanzania, this woman locked them up in prison. There is nobody to challenge this woman. As you can see right now, she locked all her challengers, all her opposition leaders, and she locked them up as we speak now. So yesterday, the protest started in Tanzania. They are saying that she will not become the president of Tanzania, that this is not democracy. Now, today is the election. Serious protest is happening in Tanzania also. My people, is this democracy? You lock up your opposition leaders, those people trying to contest with you in the election, you lock them up in Tanzania. Same thing in Ivory Coast. This new system that they are bringing now, I hope they will not bring it to Nigeria also, to the extent that they will start locking up their opposition leaders whenever they want to contest for election. This is very bad. Is this how Africa want to grow? Is this how Africa want to change? Now in Sudan, there is a war going on in Sudan. There is a serious war going on in Sudan. The rebel boys in Sudan right now have unalived many people in Sudan. Even the soldiers of Sudan have been unalived. These rebel boys, according to the report, said they have been sponsored by the Western people to destabilize the economic and the growth of Sudan because of their mineral resources, because of their oil. Now, Western leaders are putting eye on Sudan to the extent they are sponsoring rebel boys to come and unalive citizens of Sudan. As you can see now, over 6,000 plus Sudanese have fled away from Sudan as we speak right now. Look at the video of them terrorizing Sudan. Look at the video. Everywhere, Africa is not settled. There will be protests in here, there will be protests in this country, there will be protests in the other country. Every day by day, protests. And you people keep saying that you want democracy, you want to embrace democracy. You can see democracy is not working in Africa. There is no country right now to speak in Africa that democracy has favor. There is nobody, there is no country in Africa that democracy has favor. It's high time all this country I just mentioned now take the bull by the horn and do what is right. It is high time military take over this country.
We've got some big breaking news coming in from Tanzania. Now listen to this. The internet in Tanzania has totally been shut down. Right now, Tanzania is facing a total shutdown of internet. Now the question is, how will they transmit their results? But again, even the Global Observer of Internet, called NetBlocks, has confirmed that the live network data show nationwide disruption to internet connectivity in Tanzania on this election day. They have confirmed. The Internet Global Observatory Tower wame confirm, and this is a lot. This is a lot. Let's see how it goes, because this is how Nepal started.
This lady right here is Samia Suluhu. She's the current president of Tanzania, and people are starting to call her a dictator. Can you believe that the first female president in East Africa is now being labeled a dictator? Let me explain how this happened. Right now, X is blocked in all of Tanzania. Can you believe that? Twitter, it's blocked in all of Tanzania. And now the government, they're coming out and they're saying that they did this for security reasons to avoid spreading of misinformation and foreign propaganda. But the people, they're saying, you're lying. You're doing this to silence the opposition. You're silencing the critics. The Tanzanian elections are about to happen and she knows she cannot win this. So what does she do? She arrests the popular opposition leaders like Tundu Lissu. Can you believe that? Because she knows she's not going to win, she instead arrests the person she thinks is going to win. This is crazy. So right now, people that oppose Samia Suluhu, they are either arrested, abducted, or even unalived, which makes the Tanzanian people, they use VPN, they go on X and post AI pictures like this of Samia Suluhu as the dictator. So right now, digital freedom in Africa, it's under threat. Countries like Ethiopia, Nigeria, they have banned X. Can you believe that? Also Kenya, they have passed a bill in which the government, they can monitor what you post on social media. This is just crazy. We need to speak up. But do you believe what the government is saying? Do you believe that they blocked Twitter because of misinformation and security purposes? Or do you believe they're just trying to silence people?
So we have some major developing news. As you're speaking right now, there is election in Tanzania. The Tanzanians are electing their president. And let me tell you, what is happening in Tanzania is what is happening in so many African nations. All the opposition leaders and all the presidential candidates who seem like they can perform very well in elections are behind bars. In Tanzania, the main opposition leader, Tundu Lissu, was accused of treason and he is now in prison. He was barred from vying for presidency in Tanzania, and they're speaking right now, he cannot participate. The government in Tanzania under their president Samia Suluhu has shut down all social media platforms in Tanzania ahead of these elections. That is what they said yesterday. So as you're speaking right now, the Tanzanians do not have any communication apart from WhatsApp.
Suluhu Hassan it has MPs, it has a president, but still it's under the country Tanzania. How funny is that? So of course, the president of Tanzania lived there, and of course schooled there, grew up there. Also, when it comes to even leadership, she had some leadership in there, but before that she used to work in World Food Program. I think that's what gave her an opportunity to, start meeting these politicians, and she got inspired, and that's how she got into politics. So she began her House of Rep in the year 2000, and that was a special seat, I will say. When you talk about special seat, it's kind of nomination or nominated, and you'll find some people giving to the youth and also to women and the able differently people. So in the year 20, member of parliament of Makunduchi constituency, and she got it. She even won by, I think, 80%, over 80%. Later on, she chaired the Constitutional Review Special Committee, and, she was entrusted with the ruling party, and in the year 2015, CCM Chama cha Mapinduzi, that is the political party, the ruling political party in Tanzania. In the year 2015, CCM picked her as the running mate of the presidential candidate John. She was made the first female vice president and guys of Tanzania. So how did she become the president? So we all remember in March of 2021, that was on date 17th, we lost John Pombe Magufuli, the former president. Actually, if you looked at John Pombe Magufuli, I will see Ibrahim Traore in him. I will see Julius Malema in him. I will see Thomas Sankara in him. And I think that didn't go well with the West. Of course, it said that John Pombe Magufuli died of heart-related complications, heart attack. So 2 days later, Samia Suluhu Hassan was sworn in as the 6th president of the United Republic of Tanzania, and of course the first female to hold that position, but of course the 6th female in Africa, but the first in Tanzania. So under the constitution of Tanzania, she took over the remainder of Magufuli's term, which has already expired, and they were actually supposed to be doing an election today, but chaos erupted around across the country because of oppression, because of corruption. Guys, imagine being in the ballot paper, like alone as the main candidate. Like, people don't have a choice. They just have you as their choice. Like, you're forcing yourself into them. That's how it felt. So his ascension into power was, of course, significant for so many reasons. Number one, gender. I mean, seeing a woman to leading a country, and of course for continuity, keeping CCM in power, and for signaling. So some opt that she would shift the style of governance compared to Magufuli, and actually she has shifted, although hers was really brutal. Politically, she was seen as a somehow, somewhat a transitional figure, but I don't think that is what the Tanzanians have done, because today the Gen Z Tanzanians came out in full numbers and they were like, no to Chama Pinduzi party. We are saying no, we don't want what you're doing. Why are you forcing ourselves? Even the main opposition leader who was barred from vying for this election, you actually asked about these particular posters. When you go to Tanzania, all the billboards, they contain Samia Suluhu's portraits instead of, having at least businesses. Okay, the businesses of Tanzanian entrepreneurs advertising their businesses, So once she was in office, she initiated some changes, of course. So she moved to reverse or soften some of Magufuli's more controversial policies. And for example, she acknowledged the COVID-19 pandemic. John Pombe Magufuli was like, no, that when it comes to COVID, they are using us, they are lying to us, it's not true. You continue with your work, leave them alone. But when she came in, she actually declared COVID-19 pandemic and asked everybody to be vaccinated, stay in the house, keep social distance. Anyway, she also lifted bans on media and some restrictions on opposition activities. That was earlier in the career, not now, not now. Hey, now if you try talking against her or opposing what she said or trying to correct her, you will see fire. Hey, anyway, her approach was guided by what she called the 4 R's: reconciliation, reforms, rebuilding, resilience. The idea itself was to heal divisions, open governance, rebuild trust, prepare for future challenges. But guess what has happened? It is the opposite of all this. It is the opposite. People don't have trust in her in the first place. There is no open governance because you cannot correct her anywhere, even in the media. You will be abducted. You will disappear. People are not healed. They are more divided now. So you see, she also focused on infrastructure, economic development, improving water and power services, agriculture, and so on. But now there is this point where she talked about just recently. She said that, you know what, guys, we don't want citizens from our neighboring countries coming to our country and doing salon businesses, hawking. I mean, those should be left to Tanzanians only, and those who are found and you're not a Tanzanian, you will be arrested. I mean, it was devastating because across the East Africa, we have many people, you know, we have Tanzanians in Kenya, we have Ugandans, the same way Tanzanians have Kenyans, Zimbabweans, I mean, people from all over the country. So it wasn't really nice. Okay, all this wasn't smooth, of course. Even as she made openings, critics argued that many of the authoritarian features of the previous era remained. For example, there were concerns about press freedom and expression. In 2025, the Home Affairs Ministry warned citizens against sharing foreign-produced content critically of the president on social media. Like, you are not allowed to post anything. Like, she was actually trying to protect misinformation. That's according to her, because at some point they actually banned Twitter. But today the internet is like down in Tanzania. So I don't know, she's running against too, because and at the end of the day, if she comes out and she's announced as the winner, people will be shocked because most polling stations were even burnt down. People didn't vote. So if she wins, I don't know how will she have gotten, how will she have won anyway. When it comes to her talking about constitutional reforms and more space for opposition, you know, I don't think it has really come into life, because if you see the likes of Tundu Lissu, just like yesterday, he was still fighting for, you know, no reforms, no election. So no reforms has ever been done. Anyway, we talk about political environment, and now that it's 25, there is a general election that happened today. But before that, you know, people thought that, you know, it was going to be like kind of better or neutral, but actually it has been so tensed, and the oppositions have asked for reformations, like it has to be delivered. Also, some high profile people have been arrested, some have disappeared, some have been issued with red flags, and you know, that type of governance, of course, nobody likes it. People thought that she was going to bring a gentler experience, but now it's something different. So what's happening right now? What is happening? You know, they are supposed to be holding a general election. Samia Suluhu is running for the first time. You know, she was not elected. She just got into power because of the how the constitution states. Like, if you are in power, you are the vice president, and the president dies, you take in. That's what happens with most political parties. So the main political party, the main opposition political, Siana Maendeleo, that is, it was disqualified from participating in some races, and also even the main opposition leader was also banned from participating in elections. That he had to remain in prison for this, so that, you know, people get to know that, yeah, he didn't vote, he didn't tell anybody to do anything, so he's just keeping himself safe. And you know, arrests and charges have been happening here and there. Treason have been applied to high opposition leaders. It has been really hectic. So there was, of course, protests today in Dar es Salaam and some parts of the country, in Tarime. And you know what, guys, you can imagine, internet was shut down. Curfews have been enforced in Tanzania. Like, by 6 p.m. you're not supposed to be seen. But guess what? Tanzanians have said we're gonna come out and fight for our rights. So, of course, the protests is the clash between security officers and the protesters. And this particular election is actually shaping up. You know, I don't know if, say, democracy really works in Africa. I think the person that said that it's better if the military rolled, I mean, it's much better for them to rule our country than, you know, these political parties that talk about democracy. So when we talk about governance and policy moves, on the side of policy, the President Samia has always made promises to boost agriculture and youth employment. And I don't know if she achieved that. I don't really think so, because she was promising that in October she was going to enhance coffee seedling production and facilitate tractors for young farmers in Kagera region. But remember, those are promises, and we all believe in actions. She also tried to address disappearances in just like few months ago in June, and she directed the police to intensify investigations into people who had gone missing. Guys, it's laughable. How do you address and you direct the police to intensify investigations, and you are the one who is giving out the directions? Anyway, of course, there's been tension, criticism, and many human rights groups have actually gotten involved into the politics of Tanzania, and have said that the environment for decent media and civil society has worsened like times 100. Observers also, we normally have foreign election observers. They're like TCM's dominance is increasing and opposition is weaker, and the fairness of the upcoming election is highly contested. So that's according to them. I think therefore the government's handling of social media also, it's not good, because they keep banning social media spaces because they know people are sharing. So what's the bigger picture? So we have a sort of a paradox where Samia Suluhu came in with hooks of reforms and a reconciliation, but the structures and power dynamics appear to resist you know, deep change. The ruling party remains immensely dominant. The opposition is under pressure and the political space is tight. The stakes in the current elections are very high, not just for Tanzania's leadership, but for the kind of democratic model the country will follow. So, what's the takeaway? For today, I will say when you look at the historic breakthrough, Samia Suluhu Hassan's rise to the presidency marked a historic moment for Tanzania. First woman president ascending with legitimacy and a constitutional mechanism and signaling potential for change. So she introduced some reforms, gentler tone, but deep structural change has been slow, and many of the entrenched mechanisms remained intact, like nothing really changed. The current election and political environment suggests that Tanzania is at a crossroads. Will it move forward, or, will there be a more open and inclusive governance model? Or again, will power continue to concentrate under one party and one leader with limited space for opposition? I don't know what you think about that, but that's it for today. I'll see you in the next video.